Let's talk tariffs again, ladies and gentlemen. I think I talked about it yesterday. And I said yesterday that Trump was bullying. It may have been this morning. Hell, I don't remember. I said Trump was in the process of bullying people to get their mind right. And so he proposed 25% on Mexico, 25% on Canada, 10% on China. China, 10% on China. And quite naturally, the Mexican president came out and said that she was going to stop the damn caravans. Now, she said a couple of sassy things in her remarks, and they were saying that Mexico may put tariffs on America. Ooh, we so damn scared. But nonetheless, we're going to listen to Maria and the conversation that's going on around tariffs. But this is what you got to understand. Trump, when he first went in office, put tariffs on people the first rep. So they know he's not bluffing when he say, I'll put a tariff on you, because he already done put that tariff on that ass before. You see what I'm saying? So they know he ain't bluffing. It ain't like Biden sitting there saying, we going to do this. No, they know this dude going to do it. They know he about that action. So bye-bye caravans, and he ain't even in office yet.
Welcome back. The story of the morning, tariffs. President-elect Trump says he will put tariffs on China, Mexico, and Canada until they stop the flow of deadly fentanyl and illegal migrants into America. Trump is promising a 25% tariff on all Canadian and Mexican goods coming into the United States. Trump is also vowing to slap China with a 10% tariff above any additional tariffs already in place. Trump says China never followed through on its promise to crack down on fentanyl and give drug dealers the death penalty. Joining me now is Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson. He is a member of the House Oversight, Transportation, Infrastructure, and Education Committees. Congressman, President Trump promised tariffs, and this is how he's starting, even before getting into office. Your reaction?
Yeah, I think he called tariffs a beautiful word, Maria.
Yeah, he did.
But look, I think it's something that is necessary. It's long overdue that we kind of course correct on some of the trade imbalances that we have with other countries. When you look at the fact that that Japan has a 100% tariff on cars that are manufactured in the United States, that Europe has a 100% tariff on cars manufactured in the United States.
Which means that you ain't selling no American car in Japan, because it's 100% markup on a car. You ain't selling no car in Japan. There's Japanese cars in Japan because they got a tariff. So you ain't selling no damn Ford into Japan.
This goes back to the Marshall Plan, back to after World War II. The United States allowed these countries to institute these tariffs so that they could help rebuild these nations. And I don't know about you, Maria, but that was a long time ago. And these countries have had plenty of time to rebuild.
Yeah, they got their stuff together already. What are we helping them for?
And I think that it's time that we course correct that. And the way to do that is through tariffs.
Yeah, Cowen and Company's analyst this morning is talking about this. And in the last note, he writes this: we continue to believe that countries with free trade agreements are best positioned and would have lower thresholds for relief, along with countries that have trade goods surplus with the USA, like Brazil. China clarity is unclear. President Trump coming at Mexico, Canada, and China strong this morning. So we'll see how this plays out. Do you think this is going to in any way spark inflation? This is the worry on the detractors around tariffs.
It's going to create some winners and some losers, to be fair. But I do think that overall, it's going to benefit the entire whole of the United States of America. And I think that the overarching inflation is going to be mitigated by the benefit that we're going to receive by some of these trade offsets. So, look, and I think that Trump was successful in getting Mexico to help in the Remain in Mexico policy through his threat of tariffs. Yeah. I think that in a lot of cases, these tariffs are mostly meant to try to bend these foreign governments into the will of the United States. So they're allies to us in some of these efforts.
And he has told me and others that he's going to redo USMCA, That's his trade deal, his signature trade deal that he did with Canada and Mexico. But he put an amendment in there that should he decide to redo it in 6 years, he will. And so he's got that opportunity to redo that deal. So we'll probably be hearing more about that trade agreement. But I want to get your take on the other news of the day, and that is all of these cases going away. The judge presiding over Trump's 2020 federal election.
Let me stop here and say this. This is what we voted for Donald Trump to do. So, with one tweet, and remember, the media attacked his tweet saying, Donald Trump has mean tweets. In one tweet, it really wasn't a tweet, it was on Truth Social. In one tweet, in one threat, everybody got in line. Well, I have to show you the evidence that they've got in line. You haven't seen that yet. But nonetheless, with one tweet, Mexico and Canada said, hold on, we're going to calm ourselves down because we know you coming. And we run the risk of destroying our economy if we're enemies with you. Now, they're getting ready to get into Jack Smith. And Jack Smith is an interesting case because Jack Smith is going to go down in history as a criminal. And as someone who did something legally and violated legal precedent that nobody has ever done. So he's withdrawing his case. And if I was Jack Smith, I would have withdrew my case a long damn time ago. But it's one of those cases where you went so far down the road acting a damn fool, you don't know what to do. And understand that Jack Smith was emboldened to do this. And so behind the scenes, there had to have been conversations where Jack was like, listen, this is not going to work. I need to lay off of this. No, Jack, you're going to keep on doing this or else. Don't think that these men are operating without any agency behind them, emboldening them to do what they're doing or threatening them or blackmailing them to keep them going in a direction. I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Smith paid a little old secret trip down to Mar-a-Lago, like a lot of other people are doing at this point in time, and nobody's pointing it out. You have to understand that there are a lot of people secretly traveling to Mar-a-Lago.
Case granting special counsel Jack Smith's request to drop all charges. The judge, Judge Chutkan, dismissing the case without prejudice.
Look at all that dandruff on his damn shirt. Look at all the damn dandruff on his jacket. Look at it. This is who prosecuting your damn president. All this damn dandruff.
The case without prejudice, leaving the possibility of bringing those charges back after Trump leaves office.
And the man looked like
Jack Smith's team
on a
moving to end its appeal in the classified document case against Trump as well. Smith's prosecutions of Trump cost the taxpayer more than $50 million, Congressman. Your reaction to, is this dead now?
It appears to be dead. This guy wasted $50 million of taxpayer money in a witch hunt against the former president.
No. It's not how much money of taxpayer money he wasted. It's how much money did he force Donald Trump to waste to defend himself. Really, think about it. How much money did he force Donald Trump to waste to defend himself? That's the problem with this lawfare that they do. Many times it's really just about breaking you and send you into bankruptcy. You know what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to. That's the wrong question. How much money did Donald Trump have to spend to defend himself? Now, from a narrative standpoint, you want to put a price tag on his foolishness, so maybe later on down the road he can get in trouble with it. But that's not the real question. The real question is, how much did President Donald Trump have to spend to defend himself from this BS?
And the future president of the United States, the lower courts told him that during the campaign that the Trump had immunity. Jack Smith tried to get past that. Never forget that this individual, at the end of the day, tried to put our future president in jail before we even had a chance to take a vote. When people talk about an undemocratic process,
talk about a banana republic is what we're talking about. We're talking about what the hell just happened? We're talking about a banana republic is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back. This is Jack Smith's request to drop all charges. Or more than $50 million, Congressman.
Former president and the future president of the United States. The lower courts told him that during the campaign that The Trump had immunity. Jack Smith tried to get past that. Never forget that this individual, at the end of the day, tried to put our future president in jail before we even had a chance to take a vote. When people talk about an undemocratic process, this is about as undemocratic as it can get. And I think that we should use the phrase never again when it comes to the lawfare that we allowed the Department of Justice and Jack Smith to do.
Yeah. Jonathan Madison, you're an attorney. Your reaction to all of this?
Absolutely. I mean, having run a law firm myself, I got to tell you, the idea of spending $50 million in general, let alone taxpayer money, to fund a case, and that turns out to be an absolute failure is just a colossal waste. Congressman, I'm interested to get your take, though. What do you expect, President?
That's a nice little suit he got on. The tie, could have did better with the tie, but it's hard to match that color on that suit. But I mean, the suit is nice.
Elect Trump to do under the circumstances here. I'd be interested personally to see if he's going to pursue a malicious prosecution claim against either DOJ representatives under Special Counsel Jack Smith, or whether and to what extent you believe that Jim Jordan's committee might look into this and even launch an investigation into whether this was malicious prosecution.
Well, I think that there are individuals that are angry and would want to take out a revenge. Donald Trump is not that person. I know him to be a very forgiving individual and not someone.
Nah, I ain't with you on that. Nah. I don't think we go on that road, ladies and gentlemen, where it's like we going to just forgive and forget. I don't think we headed down that roadway. In fact, I'm going to tell you this. The American people would be pissed off if he went down that forgive and forget roadway, because everybody saw the injustice that was done to him. I would be pissed. I think the majority of the American citizens would be pissed off to the highest point of festivity if he decided to say, okay, let's forgive and forget Jack Smith. No.
One that stoops to taking revenge tactics. I think that he cares about his legacy and he wants to clean this up. He wants to make sure that future presidents, future elected officials do not face the form of lawfare that he had to go through.
Which inherently means that Jack Smith must be punished. You know, there was a time period where they had the Q people running around with the Punisher skull. This is about time for the Punisher skull to come out. I ain't gonna lie. I stopped following the whole Q thing when they started saying stuff and it was clearly wrong. But it's about time. Y'all need to make a resurgence with the Punisher skull all over the place. Now, you want to be active? Now it's time for you to activate and just have Punisher skull everywhere. To remind Donald Trump the expectation is to punish these people for what they've done. And I don't mean, take no lies. Jack Smith should go to prison for the rest of his life. Point blank, period. And the people that were behind Jack Smith should go to prison for the rest of their lives.
And let's not forget the witch hunts, the Russia stuff that he had to face.
Hillary Clinton should go to prison for the rest of her life. Hit play.
He spent tens of millions of dollars in those investigations. I think that he wants to make sure that we return to normalcy and that his legacy is that he's the guy that did that.
Real quick before you go, sir, you're planning on reintroducing a bill which would abolish the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. You say the ATF is violating the Second Amendment. The ATF responded, saying that it provides enormous benefits to the American public through all of its efforts fighting violent crime every day. Congressman, tell us about the ATF and why you want to abolish it.
Yeah, the ATF commandeers local law enforcement. They tell your sheriff, your state highway patrol what to do. They tell them which laws that they're going to enforce when it comes to Second Amendment, not the laws that are passed by Congress, not the laws that are passed by the state legislatures. The ATF has been hell-bent to change the rules and regulations on lawful firearm owners. And I think that we need to take matters into our own hands and let the states control these matters.
Well, it certainly...
Ladies and gentlemen, I remember when Jack Posobiec, the last time Jack Posobiec was on the interview runs, and we haven't seen Jack Posobiec at all. Not Jack Posobiec. He's down in Florida. I'm looking at this guy's face, but I can't remember his name. So we're going to strike that from the record because I can't remember the guy's name. But he came on Alex Jones's show. Steve Pieczenik is his name. Steve Pieczenik came on Alex Jones's show, and he said, hey, Alex was spazzing out about the deep state destroying the world, the deep state attacking him. This is when he was like headlong in battle with them prior to them arresting people that work for him and putting them in prison prior to the January 6th, prior to all this stuff. Steve Pieczenik came out and Steve said, Alex was spazzing. He said, Alex, calm down, Alex. What's going to happen is the power is going to leave D.C. and it's going to go back to the states. That's all that's going to happen, Alex. Calm down. D.C. is no longer going to be relevant. Calm down, Alex. Calm down, Alex. And, you know, Steve Pieczenik seemed to be 100% right about what is going on. He called it maybe in 2021, maybe 2020. It was right around the time when COVID really first kicked in, if I'm not mistaken. He called this. He said all the power is going to be transferred back to the states, away from the federal government. He said these federal agencies are going to be abolished because they've violated and they've done too much. And it looks as if what he's saying is coming true. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry I got distracted. This video was supposed to be about the tariffs, and we went a little bit further down the rabbit hole than we should. So hold on a second. Let me go ahead and show you what's being said about the tariffs from the Mexican president, the female president of Mexico, which, by the way, that shall be a problem in the near future. Hold on. Let me show you. Newsweek. Now, this is the female president of Mexico, and I'm going to say she's going to be a problem because she trying to be sassy at the same time as stopping the caravans. She got in a pride and she feels like he threatened her. But let's just see what she says. She's stopping the caravan. Let's start with that. So Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum addressed U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's renewed threats of steep tariffs this week, asserting that migrant caravans are no longer reaching the U.S. border. Her remarks underscore growing tensions as Trump plans to tighten immigration policies and impose a 25% tariff on Mexican imports. Trump declares that the tariffs will remain in place until such a time drugs, in particular fentanyl, and all illegal aliens stop invading our country. Caravans of migrants no longer reach the border, Sheinbaum said on Tuesday while presenting a letter she plans to send to Donald Trump in the coming days. She also emphasized Mexico's efforts to curb the flow of drugs, including synthetic opioid fentanyl, while noting that it remains a public health and consumption problem within your country's societies. As Trump prepares his second inauguration, his harsh rhetoric, bada bing, bada boom. So Newsweek is going on to say, and this is Newsweek, you got to remember, but we know for a fact that they had caravans on the way. And I'm assuming that by her saying they're not reaching, that she's going to stop them. But here's where she's going to be the problem. Because this is November 26th at 12 p.m. This is at 3 p.m. This is what this heifer had to say. And I need you to understand something. Everybody can talk crazy until the gorilla get in the building. So she's talking crazy right now because the gorilla is not in the building. The gorilla ain't walked in the front doors of the White House. I want you to realize that when the gorilla get in the front door and the gorilla sit behind the desk, all this yibba-yabbing gonna stop. Every last drop of the yibba-yabbing gonna stop. It's amazing how they have this brinksmanship when it should be, hey, let me see what I can do to work with this man. She gonna make him check her.
A un arancel vendrá otro en respuesta. Y así,
to one tariff will come another, and so on, until we put our common businesses at risk. For example,
so here she goes. To one tariff will come another. Okay.
Mexico's main exporters to the United States are General Motors, Stellantis, and Ford Motor Company, which came to Mexico 80 years ago.
Stop, pause right here. So here we go. This is what she don't seem to understand. A 25% tariff means that these companies, watch this, General Motors, Stellantis, and Ford Motor Company cannot sell their products into America without a 25% markup on them. So what he does is he puts pressure on those companies through the tariffs. Now, what it ends up happening to her is their nation loses jobs. If he goes with 100% tariff, those companies say, okay, we either going to have to move out of Mexico, move to a place that doesn't have the tariffs, or we're going to move our behinds back to America. Now, if you recall, when he was in office before, there were tariffs in place, and they were trying to move plants to Mexico, and they all changed their plans. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it was General Motors. Might have been Ford. But they were building a giant facility in Mexico. Now, I understand the reason why they want it in Mexico is because they're going to get cheaper labor and they can have higher profits, right? So what Donald Trump says, I'm going to eat 25% of them profits up, General Motors, Stellantis, and Ford Motor Company. I'm going to eat into 25% of those profits that you think you're going to make. So if these are major employers in her nation, then the problem that she's going to run into is she's going to have a hell of a lot more unemployed people there. Now, for her to sit there and threaten tariff for tariff is dumb. It's absolutely stupid and crazy, but this is what happened when you have a woman in leadership. I'm going to tell you this, look, guys, because she's going to come out with an emotional response. This is the most emotional thing you could have said. She would have did better just keeping her mouth closed. This is why we didn't need Kamala Harris, because she's coming out and she's trying to challenge. It's going to end bad because he hit you with 100% tariff. None of those companies can sell anything into this nation. If they're under 100% tariff for 4 years, Mexico, those companies have to return back home. So now you lost all of those jobs, which I'm pretty sure she's going to say that. I haven't listened to
years ago. Why put a tax on them that puts them at risk? It is not acceptable and would cause the U.S. and Mexico inflation and job losses.
No, it wouldn't, because they're going to bring their ass back to America. And they're going to cost us nothing.
Pero si ponemos en el centro la coordinación, la colaboración.
But if we focus on coordination and collaboration to be able to address the migratory phenomenon in a deep way, the problem of the humanitarian crisis they have in the United States due to the consumption of fentanyl, then they will be addressed integrally. That is why I say, in addition to the letter, we are going to seek a call so that we can sit down as soon as possible.
Oh, now you want to sit down. Now you want to have a sit down. See? Now he just said 25%. Now you won't sit. Yeah. But see, she's trying to save face. She's trying to save face. And I could kind of understand it, but I wouldn't have came out and said we going tariff for tariff. You got to be crazy. You notice in her conversation, she didn't say about what she would put tariffs on that would affect us, what we selling into Mexico that she going to put a tariff on. Tell me what we in America are selling into Mexico. Somebody, anybody, tell me what we are selling into Mexico.
A buscar una llamada.
Let me see if the article tells us what she said we're selling into Mexico. Mexican President Tuesday warned Donald Trump of dire economic consequences of the 25%. One tariff will follow another. Mexico's automotive industry is the country's most important manufacturing sector, accounting for over 35% of manufacturer exports by value. The United States is by far the dominant destination for vehicles made in Mexico, with up to 79% of them headed north across the border. Mexico represents 25% of all North American vehicle production. Watch this. U.S. firms lead car exports from Mexico to North America. General Motors, Ford, Nissan, Stellantis, Toyota, Volkswagen, Honda, Kia, Mazda, and Audi. So, what we're saying is, or what he's saying is, all of these corporations are going to take a 25% price hike onto their products, which means that all of these corporations are going to get the hell up out of Mexico. I want to see what they're going to put a tariff on us with. Tariffs will violate the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, a trade deal the country signed in 2020 under Trump's first administration. I'm still looking. Nope. They're doing a lot of explaining. Tariffs are taxes. We do not produce weapons. We do not consume synthetic drugs. Unfortunately, we do have people who are being killed by crime that is responding to the demand of your country, she says. I don't give a damn about that. Nothing. because it's an empty threat. And that's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is this. All she had to do was come out and say, listen, we're going to put an end to these caravans and let's chop it up later. He threatened to put a tariff on you. He didn't say he was going to put a tariff on you. Now he going to put a tariff on you. If you'd have just, he probably reached out to this woman prior to even saying this. And she was on some, I'm not going to pay attention to you. So now he got your ear. And honestly, guys, that's what we voted Donald Trump in to do. To put all these clowns in check. I don't care if you a male or a female. I was about to say something wild. You need to be put in check. Our borders need to be put in check, and he need to check all of them. That's how I feel about it. I stand on that for real.